The controversy around reaction channels hasn't ended after the Fine brothers. In fact, it's just getting started. GradeAUnderA, one of the large critical channels on YouTube, has decided to go after the reaction community and in particular focus on Tyrone Magnus, one of the largest reaction channels, in Grade A's latest video that he just released. But is what GradeAUnderA said accurate? I'll take a look at it here. We're going to dissect the issue a little differently this time. Since Grade A is taking one point of view, I'm going to play devil's advocate and take the opposing point of view. I'm going to leave my personal opinion on Grade A's channel out of it because, frankly, I really love Grade A. But I think it's really important to take a look at the issue that has evidence to back it up. I'm going to show as little of Grade A's video as possible, but when I do show it, it's because I'm responding directly to his point, so I'm essentially quoting him by letting him speak for himself, rather than paraphrasing it and representing what he said in a way that might not be entirely accurate. So Grade, I know you addressed in this video that you have a problem with people using your footage, but to clarify, I'm doing this under fair use in order to report the news in a timely manner, and in a form where I'm giving criticism and educational commentary. Now, the link to GradeAUnderA's original video is in the description, so if you are not interested in hearing my commentary, please go view the full video yourself. Alright, let's jump in.
But here's the thing, right? This affects literally everyone who makes any type of video on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely. Issues around copyright and copyright abuse on YouTube are massive, and it affects everyone, not just YouTubers, but the people watching their videos.
Why is it not seen as shitty when reaction channels steal people's entire videos on YouTube?
That would be because of fair use, and depending on how the videos are used, it determines whether or not it is actually theft of copyrighted content.
We've all seen, thanks to the Farm Brothers, reaction channels are the scum of YouTube.
Okay, just because the Fine brothers made a mistake doesn't mean that all reaction channels are horrible. In fact, before this whole Fine brothers fiasco, everybody pointed to the Fine brothers as the pinnacle of what reaction channels should be. You are saying that reaction channels are the scum of YouTube as if that's a fact. Who are you to decide? Now, I don't mean this as a personal jab, but I'm going to use your work as an example. There are animators out there who would say that your work is the scum of YouTube and you don't put as much time into your drawings and your style as animators with higher production value. They would say that your content takes less effort to produce, just like reaction channels take less effort to produce. Now, don't get me wrong, I freaking love the videos on your channel, but do you see where I'm coming from? There are also people who love that reaction content.
The biggest problem with these new reaction channels is that they're not going out of their way to ask permission from the uploader of the original video if they have permission to react.
Under fair use, you don't need permission. In fact, let me show you a source for this. Now, there are some factors that go into this, including the entire length of the video used, but if you are using a video to support something that you are saying, as in for criticism or for news reporting, you do not have to get permission. This is an argument that Grade A is going to use throughout his entire video when it does not apply. Now, to his credit, it is always best to seek permission. However, let's take this video as an example. I already know that GradeAUnderA doesn't like to give permission to have his videos used. On top of that, I'm reporting this as news because this whole thing just happened about an hour ago, so I have to get this video out by a certain time to where I don't have time to wait for permission. Plus, I'm giving criticism in this video for which there's a chance he wouldn't give permission if he knew what this video was going to say, and that is exactly why fair use protects criticism. Now, reactors are generally giving criticism or commentary on a video. Later in this video, Grade A is going to discuss how for a specific video he has in mind, only 7 words of commentary or criticism were given. And does that really count as commentary? Tyrone Magnus, who will be coming up later in the video, his defense to this is saying that 90% of all communication is nonverbal, so he's still giving commentary by a silent reaction via his body language. We're going to take a closer look at that coming up.
Reaction channels always say that they make no money, right?
I don't get that much money from reactions. What do people not understand?
The biggest issue you guys have is how successful we are and how little effort we are to get to that success. You should actually applaud us for that. You should be like, congratulations, man. All you do is just react to videos and you make this much money? Like...
So if reaction videos make no money, then why is this guy boasting about how much money he makes reacting?
Okay, first of all, fair point. He just made reactors look pretty terrible and full of hubris. Anytime there is a loophole, people are going to take advantage of it, which is why the system needs to be fixed. And frankly, finding a way this foolproof to be able to take advantage of YouTube's algorithms is brilliant. The last time we've seen a group be able to take advantage of YouTube's algorithms to this extent was probably Reply Girls back around 2012. But there is something extremely important I want to mention here, extremely important. And for this, I'm going to show you proof of my own earnings because I was doing reaction content on this channel. Let me show you. Here are my earnings. Yes, I am actually showing you how much I made per view on YouTube. And we are going to focus on ad earnings. I have two YouTube channels. This is for my reaction channel. Notice that for the last 28 days, I've had 234,000 views, yet have only made 86 cents. 86 cents for over 200,000 views. Let's take a look at my gaming channel for comparison. On my gaming channel, on just 175,000 views, I made over $90 in ad revenue. I made 100 times as much money on less views on my gaming channel. And if anything, the views on my gaming channel are lower quality. They have lower retention on shorter videos. So while we don't know the reasons why this is happening, although I do have an idea why, which I'll cover in another video, the bottom line is that reaction channels make less money than other genres on YouTube. I reached out to YouTube to see if my channel is representative of other channels in this regard, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them. But they did say that the amount of earnings I'm making on this channel is normal. So evidence does point to the reacting genre making less money regardless of their view count.
But Grade, reactors put a lot of effort into their videos. Yep. No, you're right.
Now that's debatable. And before you're too shocked at me saying that, let me explain why. What does constitute a reaction exactly? So do you have to be talking or emoting to react? Or does the lack of a reaction actually indicate your level of engagement with the content you're watching and therefore constitute a reaction itself? At the end of the day, only a court can decide.
The reaction that Tyrone Magnus made to my video, with all his charisma, intellect and comedy, guess how many words he said throughout? He literally said 7 words in 16 minutes.
In all fairness, that is pretty egregious.
Do you know what those words were? Oh shit, this is a long video.
Yep, that's pretty bad.
Not only did he say 7 words, but they had nothing to do with the actual content of the video.
Fair point.
After the video, where you would at least imagine that he would talk about the video he just watched, he didn't even do that. All he did was defend himself and talk about how he does so much more than reacting.
I will admit that when I watched Tyrone's reaction to that video, I did wait all the way to the end to see what he had to say, and I was disappointed that he didn't have more commentary or criticism on the specific video itself, but that is just my opinion.
Even if someone's facial expression is blank for a moment or two, or longer, that shows you that at that moment they're not amused.
That's an argument to be made. If communication is nonverbal, does it still make a point? Because if it doesn't, then this satire video from Jack's Films of Jack reacting to Jinx reacting to Jack isn't fair use, even if it's satire, because is what he did transformative if he didn't use words to do it? Now, I would argue that Jack's video clearly is satire and he's making a point specifically by not speaking and by staring blankly at the screen the way he says that Jinx does. But if that's okay, why is it okay when Jack does it, but not okay when Tyrone does it?
Last time I saw, he had over 300,000 views on that video, which equates to hundreds of dollars, alright?
But does it really? Here's 234,000 views, and it only made 86 cents.
Do you know how much I made off that video? Not $1 fucking dollar. Because YouTube's third-party claim system is fucking horseshit.
Now, Grade goes on to say that he made $0 off of his video because of YouTube's content claim system, and that his video was claimed by somebody else, yet he's saying that Tyrone made money off of his video, and that's wrong. Well, there's a logical fallacy there. If Grade's video got caught for some copyrighted content, then why wouldn't have Tyrone's gotten flagged for the same thing? Now, there are reasons why sometimes one video will get flagged and not another, but it would be interesting if Tyrone would step forward and show proof of how much money he made off that video. Now, that said, Tyrone still has the right to his privacy, so he doesn't have to disclose this if he doesn't want to. Although, as we see later, GradeA actually wanted the video to stay up on YouTube, even though he felt it was violating his copyrighted work, which is interesting.
The video that Tyrone made using my stolen video absolutely, undeniably made hundreds of dollars.
That's not true. Where's the proof? You can't just say that. Where is the proof?
So if I didn't get any of that fucking money it generated, where do you think it went?
No, that doesn't mean it went to Tyrone. We don't even have proof that Tyrone made any money off of this video. Chances are he might have, and it would be nice if he would step forward with that information, but we can't just assume, and we certainly can't assume how much he made, even using a good rule of thumb, because as we've seen, reaction channels make less than other channels on YouTube. And if there's any evidence, hard proof, proving otherwise, I would love to see it so I can make a correction to that statement. But until I have that proof, that's what the evidence points to.
So not only is it copyright infringement, but it's some seriously shady, predatory shit. It's an illegal, get-rich-quick, fuck others over so I can steal from them style of video.
You can't just say it's illegal. And in fact, you may be slandering Tyrone by accusing him of illegal acts. If you truly felt it was illegal, what you needed to do was file a DMCA takedown notice. And if Tyrone sent a counter notification, you would need to go to court to defend what you're saying, that what he's doing is illegal. You would start a lawsuit. And let me back that up for you. Can YouTube determine copyright ownership? No. YouTube isn't able to mediate rights ownership disputes. When we receive a complete takedown notice, we remove the content as the law requires. When we receive a valid counter notification, we forward it to the person who requested the removal. After this, it's up to the parties involved to resolve the issue in court. So if you are a firm believer in this GradeA, willing to go so far as to call it illegal and potentially slander someone, why don't you take this to court yourself?
YouTube does nothing about channels that routinely steal videos like this. YouTube doesn't give a fuck.
That's because YouTube legally can't. In fact, as you just said yourself earlier in this video, YouTube's Content ID claim system can actually be abused to take money from channels who should be earning it, like yours. So on one hand, you're saying YouTube should do more, but when YouTube does more, you're saying that they're doing it wrong.
So I go and put my third-party claim in, right? So now I'm the one earning money from it. So after my third-party claim is in and Tyrone is no longer the one earning money from my video, guess what he does? The video that I made that is now earning me money, he deletes it. As far as Tyrone Magnus is concerned, if he can't benefit from my hard work, then nor will I.
I'm going to come back to this insult in just a minute. But to address what GradeA just said, there's apparently no winning with him. He's mad when the video is up, he's mad when it's taken down. He says the Content ID claim system is broken, but then he tries to use it himself. And while it's probably educated speculation that Tyrone took down the video because it would no longer benefit him, it still hurts him to take down the video. Even if he wasn't making money from it, it was still driving traffic to his channel. At least that's what you said earlier in the view when you said that he would be getting the traffic and you weren't. Isn't that correct? So it still hurt him to take it down. And frankly, on your video where you weren't making the money, why didn't you dispute your copyright claim? I get the frustration around all of this, but it's misplaced. You're directing your frustration at Tyrone when it should be directed at the system.
What a fucking class act Tyrone is, right?
So you just called him what? And you're calling him a class act?
I put my third-party claim in days before he deleted the video. So you tell me why you think Tyrone really deleted that video. Because he has my best interests at heart? Or was it because he wasn't profiting from his diss video anymore and because he couldn't give two shits about me getting paid from the video that I made?
Totally fair point. It does seem a little coincidental. But can I ask why, when in the rest of this video you've included proof of everything you're saying, you didn't include proof of when you initiated that claim? That would have really backed up your case.
Okay, first of all, Tyrone has some pretty nice things to say about me.
which is everything that he's doing. I'm not slinging no mud at him at all. Oh my God, he's such a low-level intelligence person. He's a faceless coward. You're a horrible person. I mean, truly, you know, you are the scum of the earth.
Okay, if you're going to call out Tyrone for insulting you, how are you going to neglect mentioning the fact that you ripped him a new one in your Twitch stream? Look, I don't know if I'll have time to edit an entire insult montage of the things that you said about Tyrone, but look at this. These are literally timestamps of every single point in your Twitch stream where you were insulting him. I counted 37 insults here, and they were really nasty. And this is where you can see, by the way, that Grade A is assuming that Tyrone is making $1 per 1,000 views, which is the estimate we generally use across YouTube. But I want to point out again that this is an assumption and there's no proof to back it up. And then Grade A goes on to focus on the system.
One of my issues is that reaction channels don't ask for permission. And when you're a reaction channel and you don't ask for permission, it is fucking certain that reaction channels will be breaking copyright law, as showing the entire video as opposed to little snippets here and there completely goes against the fair use policy.
That is not true. As I mentioned before, fair use exists specifically so that people don't need permission in certain cases. It's always better to play it safe and get permission, but you don't necessarily need it because, as I mentioned earlier, in cases of news reporting, you often don't have time to get permission while keeping your commentary timely. And two, if you're going to be criticizing somebody, a lot of times they won't grant you permission. So I understand your beef with the copyright issues on this, but to say that he had to get your permission in order to not be breaking copyright law is false.
And not respecting copyright is breaking a YouTube community guideline.
No, there's a problem there because community guidelines are totally separate from copyright guidelines. You could get 3 copyright strikes and 3 community guideline strikes, which are for things like showing nudity, etc. They are completely separate, so you could actually get 6 strikes before having your channel removed. Or 5, depending on the timeline of things. And it's because of the sloppiness in thinking there that I'm making a video like this, because I want people to be informed and not just take this rant video at face value.
The third condition is raped by reaction channels because they show the entire copyrighted video. You can't get more substantial than that.
That's a problem too. You're focusing on the entire video, which is the most egregious case. However, what defines how much of a video you can use? What if you just trim 1 frame off the video? What if you trim 1 second, 10 seconds, 10 minutes? Where do you draw the line? The bottom line is that you can't, and that's why a court case has to decide. And that's why if you truly believe that somebody has done something to wrong you to this extent, you need to pursue your options legally rather than just making a video about it. Although, I certainly don't blame you for bringing these issues to light, as these are extremely important issues.
I do not like the Fine Brothers at all. I think they're bug-eyed cunts that they tried to trademark a word.
Okay, once again, I have to stop and make a correction in the logic here. He's ridiculing the Fine Brothers for trademarking a word, but trademarks exist by definition, in part to trademark words. You don't even have to look into trademark law to see this. You could see this just by going to Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Definition of trademark: something such as a word. The fact that they trademarked a word wasn't a problem. It was that they trademarked a word that was overly generic and descriptive. I point this out not to be a stickler about semantics, but because this shows a certain lack of clarity in thinking on this. So before you listen to everything that Grade A says at face value, you might want to fact check some of it yourself, and that's what this video is here for. And believe me, I have made several videos on how I feel about the Fine Brothers, so I'm not saying this just to defend them. Now for a look at the bigger picture. I get why you were upset, Grade A, and even though I am playing devil's advocate here, there is a lot of merit to what you had to say. I think you are just misdirecting it and cheapening your cause by focusing on individual reactors rather than focusing on the bigger issues with YouTube's copyright system. Now I'm going to be making a video addressing these issues in depth, and when I do have it, I will link it here. But you actually said in your stream that your goal is to take down all reaction channels. And the way you're doing it isn't the way to do it. Why don't you make your awesomely funny videos talking about how YouTube's system is broken rather than targeting and focusing on one creator for the majority of a video? It's up to you how you want to pursue it, but if you're going to focus on one person, money talks and BS walks. Let a court of law decide, because at the end of the day, you and nobody else here watching can say definitively that what Tyrone did wasn't within fair use. I agree that he's in a real gray area, and if this was taken to court, I do not think that his defense would hold up. And everyone is basically banking on people not willing to defend their legal rights. And as anyone who watches this channel knows, I am a staunch advocate of people defending their copyright rights. Now, I understand you live in a totally different country, so starting a lawsuit that you'd have to initiate in California, where YouTube resides, is probably cost prohibitive to you. But unfortunately, in the long run, these are going to be the costs of doing business on YouTube. Now, when Tyrone releases his video, I will be sure to do commentary like this if it is merited. And if you found this informative, I would encourage you to subscribe so that you can see that video when it's ready, as well as videos on other YouTube topics and interesting internet issues. GradeAUnderA just hit 2 million subscribers on YouTube. That's something to celebrate. Or is it? He may have done a face reveal, but that's not Grade. What he showed you on YouTube is just one of his 2 faces. Now, I'll tell you the rest of the story. There's no better way to gloss over when you've done something wrong than with a face reveal and by celebrating a subscriber milestone. By showing his face, it controlled the conversation and made people start talking about what he looks like, what his identity is. But it diverted people's attention from what's actually important, which is that a good percentage of his viewers are starting to see that GradeAUnderA is not who he says he is. What, you didn't know there was a whole angry mob against Grade A? Well, that's why I'm here to keep you informed. You've probably been hanging out on YouTube. This angry mob is over on Reddit. Right now, Reddit is full of people talking about how GradeAUnderA looks, but go back just a day earlier and his subreddit tells a different story. Here's one page of Grade's comments that he deleted. A question for those who dislike have been picked on by Grade. Grade back at it with the hypocrisy once again. Many YouTube videos criticizing Grade have been deleted and privated. Anyone know why? And so much more. And I'm gonna go over the highlights of this with you today to shine a light on the stuff that Grade has been trying to keep in the shadows. Now, bear in mind, I was a huge GradeAUnderA fan, but there are times when you have to call out when people are going too far. Let's start with GradeAUnderA attacking his fans. In this post, a fan commented, "I used to be a major fan, saw the same video like 30 times. Recently, Grade's just getting involved with YouTube drama. It's like teenage girl stuff. These videos make Grade look less invincible and petty." So this is a fan giving some constructive criticism and feedback. This is actually the kind of stuff that most YouTubers love to hear, as it helps us know what's going on with our audience. But let's see how Grade responded. Oh wait, we can't. He deleted it, but I'll show you how we can find that. And we're gonna talk about him deleting his comments to cover his tracks later. Let's just grab this URL and go on over to the Internet Archive, where we could look at a previous version that has a cache from before Grade deleted his comment. And here it is, where he calls his fan an idiot and much worse. Let's take a quick look. "The vast majority of my viewers are effing awesome, but the 0.001% of idiots, like 10 blah 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 here, that is the fan's name, I can't understand them, seriously." He calls him an inbred moron. Well, actually he calls him an inbred moron, but that's not really a word, so he calls him a loser. And he says, "I don't get why you can't just fuck off." He says his opinion in his ill-informed dog shit, equates his constructive criticism to crying, and tells him to once again fuck off and he can come here and cry all he wants, but it falls on deaf ears because GradeAUnderA doesn't want to hear criticism. Oh, he also calls his hissy fit prepubescent and tells him to unsubscribe. Now remember, this is from the guy who's telling him that he used to be a major fan and would watch the same video 30 times. And this is how Grade treats one of his top promoters. So essentially, GradeAUnderA, who's made an entire YouTube career out of criticizing and grandstanding against other people, can't take it when that same criticism is levied against him. From one of his top fans, no less. Now consider the other YouTubers Grade has criticized, going from PewDiePie to Markiplier to Matt Santoro. Can you imagine any of those YouTubers talking to their fans the way that Grade just did? No, and the reason they don't is because that's how you lose fans. And fans are what makes you who you are on YouTube. But what's worse, Grade didn't just try to own up to it and apologize for it. There was no mea culpa to be found here. Instead, he went and deleted the comments. He tried to cover it up, and when a 16-year-old mod refused to help him, he called her a whore. Here's the thread from that 16-year-old mod. Her name is Emily, and she goes by Cyan Sheep Media on Reddit. She decided to share the conversation she had with GradeAUnderA, where he tried to cover up his poor behavior and asked for her assistance in doing so. This is the message from GradeAUnderA. Hey Emily, can you delete threads on Reddit? If so, could you do me a favor and delete the anyone else getting put off from Grade A post thread? By the way, that's the thread that we were just looking at where he totally went off on that one fan. It's seriously getting annoying. It's full of people complaining that they don't like the way I responded, which is stupid, LOL. I have no issue with hate, but the self-righteousness of that is seriously doing my head in, LOL. Meanwhile, completely ignoring the irony of what he's doing right now, which is totally being self-righteous because he doesn't want to hear criticism. Emily, who actually understands how Reddit works and doesn't want to censor people just because they have a dissenting opinion, said, I don't want to delete an entire thread just because it is annoying you. Really, the only reason I would have to delete or lock a thread would be if there was a good reason to delete it. I could lock the thread as too many people are violating Rule 5. Would that suffice? And of course, she ends up saying later, I did end up locking the thread because at the time, people were arguing on it. Not much discussion was really being had. Looking back, it was mainly Grade A himself that was breaking Rule 5. Okay, so Emily releases this conversation and a lot of people, a lot of people start realizing that Grade is maybe not the YouTube hero that they envisioned him to be. So how does Grade respond? He calls Emily a whore. A 16-year-old mod who was trying to do the right thing for the community, he calls her a whore. Let's take a listen.
Gold Reaper Jr. donated $1 and said, I'm so sorry, but can you do a TLDR of what you just said so I can get it on recording to prove I was on Reddit wrong? Basically, here's what you say to people on Reddit, right? Tell them, go look at the fucking post and see how bad it was.
Go look at the post? What post? The post you deleted?
I have fuck all to hide, trust me.
Really, you have nothing to hide. Because almost all of your posts from the last 2 months have been deleted from Reddit. And here's a Reddit thread attesting to just that. Has Grade deleted all his recent comments and please read post? I'm not the only person noticing this.
Go read that comment. Go tell that fucking whore that's a mod on my fucking subreddit to link you to what I said to delete. Go tell her to link it. It's not bad at all.
So if it's not bad, why did you need to delete it? And why are you calling a 16-year-old girl a whore on your subreddit? It seems that you don't quite understand how Reddit really works. This is a subreddit that was about you, not for you. There's a difference. It's a subreddit where you're discussed, not a place for people to blindly worship you. GradeAUnderA seems to have a very YouTube mentality when it comes to Reddit, thinking it's just another one of his social media platforms. And that's not how it works. It's a community that you cannot control. And let me tell you, it's one of the best communities when it comes to gathering criticism about YouTubers that would otherwise be hidden. Reddit was huge when it came to the Fine Bros scandal, for example. And now Grade has gone and tried to clean up the metaphorical crime scene by deleting all his comments. He definitely deleted them all. Thank God for whoever archived this on Web Archive. But I'm not the only person noticing GradeAUnderA's lack of ability to handle criticism. Look at this fan's reaction to GradeAUnderA championing that anybody should be able to be criticized while he's meanwhile hiding his own criticism. They screen capped his video, "No one should be immune to criticism," and then put all the quotes of Grade complaining about criticism about himself and showing the hypocrisy of it. Very popular thread with 213 comments. But while many people are just starting to twig to it now, this sort of shadiness with GradeAUnderA has been going on for months. During his Ask Me Anything on Reddit a few months ago, Grade addressed concerns about his relationship with Keemstar. Grade was known for calling out questionable YouTubers, but for some reason he conveniently ignored calling out Keemstar, and his fans wanted to know why. And he had this to say: "Keemstar got an offer which is currently on the table for me, which he was 100% solely responsible for getting me, which would be enough to retire my parents. So with all due respect, given what I've just told you, to be perfectly honest, I don't give a fuck what Keemstar's done or said to other people." Now, Grade A grew from calling out people who did things wrong in the community. He called out Nicole Arbor, he called out Vegan Gains, he called out reaction channels, which, you know, I have my own opinions on, but regardless. You can't be known as the ethical YouTube hero who stands against all that is wrong when you're protecting someone who's doing things that are wrong just because they're lining your pockets with money. That is the very definition of being crooked and unethical. Grade, you've become the type of person that you used to call out. And if you don't think reading his comments in writing has enough impact, maybe listening to it will.
But for this loser to tell me you shouldn't like someone who offered you a 6-figure deal because they've called someone the N-word in the past and they falsely accused someone of a pedophile for 3 hours, I don't give a fuck, my parents don't give a fuck, they would have taken that money in 2 seconds. Fuck off, loser! I don't care. None of my concern, man.
GradeAUnderA is telling his fans once again that they are losers and to fuck off. This is from Grade's live stream on Twitch. You know what's happening here, right? GradeAUnderA has become the male equivalent of Caseytron, luring people in to watch his live stream with his big, rotund chin, and then waiting till they pay him with tips for him to read their comments to insult them. We all know how much people hate Caseytron. This is not looking good. So looking at the bigger picture, what are the implications of this for GradeAUnderA, and what should you as fans do about it? To put things in perspective, Grade initially gained his popularity from Reddit. First, from his girly drinks video going viral from being promoted on there. That got him started, but when the growth didn't continue coming quickly enough, he started attacking other YouTubers like Nicole Arbor and Vegan Gains, learning that it could slingshot his channel forward exponentially. But now that he's become a bigger YouTuber, he has to keep attacking even bigger YouTubers in order to keep that pattern of growth going. That 200 million subscriber milestone that we're all celebrating is built on the back of GradeAUnderA tearing down other people. And the problem with him having to attack bigger YouTubers is these bigger YouTubers are bigger because they are loved. And now people are starting to question Grade and take a more critical look at his behavior. That backlash is growing, and this 2 million subscriber milestone isn't something to celebrate. It's something that we should be looking at and being like, damn, how exactly did he get here? And is this really what we want to see? Do we want to support someone who's calling his fans losers and idiots? Do we want to support somebody who keeps plugging his Twitch channel so his fans will go there and pay him in donations to have their voice heard, only for him to turn around and insult them? In my opinion, no, that's the opposite of what we should be supporting. And believe me, it pains to say that because I used to watch every single one of his videos and I don't anymore, because I don't want to be lining the pockets of somebody who uses their power this way. Let me sum this up for you with a clip from one of Grade's YouTubers that he likes.
If people do bad shit, you have to call out. Have to call them out on it.
Yeah, you can't let fucking fucked up stuff slide.
Especially when it's YouTube.
And that's exactly where we're at now. Grade has become the very thing he used to fight against. And you can't hide that fact behind a 2 million subscriber milestone that was built on the backs of people that you tore down. Your attention-shifting tactic and attempt to change the conversation doesn't work on people who are too smart to see past it. Because a face reveal doesn't work when you're two-faced and only showing one of them.